it nice to the latest tea. If it's breaking news, it's breaking with me. The next big story's coming soon that will have the internet talking. From fashion to drama, we bring the truth. Fresh updates every day for you. Everybody's tuned in, everybody wants to know who's making headlines. Come on, let's go. Locked on, celeb news, we don't wait. Tune in with Diane Cal. Everybody's tuned in, everybody wants to know who's making headlines. Come on, let's go. Locked on, celeb news, we don't wait. Tune in with Diane Cal.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Locked On Celeb News. I'm Naya, and I have my co-host Cal. He is also here with me, where we break down hot celeb news and trending news stories. Let me tell you guys a few things about my channel. Just to let you guys know, this is a new channel. We actually started this channel to talk about hot celeb news and trending news stories. But all of a sudden, something shifted. And I started watching the Carmelo Anthony case, and I felt compelled to do something or say something. And I would tell Cal, this is not right what's happening to this child. For some reason, I was emotionally drawn to his case. I don't know why. It was something inside of me that I can't explain. So I talked to the Most High and I asked him, why am I so invested? Why me? Are you trying to tell me something or give me a sign with this case? To talk about these injustices done on our people? It was like I had a calling to do this. Then this happened with the Nolan Wells case, and it got worse. It was like I had something tugging on my heartstrings and saying, are you ready now? It's your time. And trust me, it wasn't what I planned on talking about with this channel. But it turned out to be a good thing because as many of us as we can need to speak out. Because that's our people that's being hurt. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to bring a spotlight and awareness on the injustices we face as BLK people. I hope y'all like our channel. So if you're new here, hit the like and subscribe button. Now let's jump into it. Y'all, why are they coming for Nolan's mom over a phone? Are you serious? She lost her son. So where's this energy? Where's the energy for an investigation? So now let's start. We're going to take a look at Nancy Grace. The boy's attorney were on there talking about the phone situation. Let's listen to what they said.
I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department hasn't. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone other than give it back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is complete.
I mean, I see you had paused it, so I'm just gonna jump on in. I don't know if you were saying anything, but they're saying they didn't hide the phone, but why they didn't bring her the information?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was talking. I didn't know I was muted. Go ahead. You could go ahead.
Yeah, as soon as they left, they should have bought her the phone and went to the house. I've had situations like that with my friend and the police can stop us, and soon as you leave, you're going straight to that person's house to let their family know something is going on. They don't have to come to you to find out that something is going on. Let's put it like that. Okay, you can go ahead and say what you were saying.
What I was saying, let me go back to what I was saying. I was saying, okay, y'all, come on. We know why the family is doing this. They don't trust the investigators. They don't trust the people that's investigating her son's case. Everybody know that. If somebody feels like they can't trust the people handling their child's case, why would you expect them to hand over the son's cell phone? I'm not saying what should or shouldn't happen with the phone legally. I'm saying I understand why they're doing what they're doing. But here's the part that really got me. Is Nola mama on trial? Because listening to some of the conversation, you would think she was the one being investigated. You would think she was the one that, unalived somebody.
That's their job to turn it around on the other person. That's what they do. You gotta watch the
Right,
news.
but
That's what
a
they do.
grieving mother.
Yeah, that don't matter. Only thing that matter in a certain situation is skin tone.
Right. That's what the clear people do.
Right.
So why, this is my question. So why so much energy being put into what this grieving mother did or didn't do? If there are legitimate questions about the phone, then ask the investigators, ask the prosecutors or her attorneys. Why all of this over a phone? Has it been subpoenaed? What is the proper legal process for obtaining and examining it? These questions are for people handling the investigation, not for blaming the mother. Because there's ways that they could get the phone. They could subpoena it. Nancy Grace talked about it. She said there's about 3 or 4 different ways. So she wasn't buying it. Where they saying, oh, the mom don't want to turn over the phone. Nancy Grace was like, what? Are you, like, she was basically like, are you serious? And she described the ways they can get it if they really want it. But they had an attorney on Willie D where he was talking about the mama is committing obstruction of an investigation because she don't want to turn over the phone. But I'm like, what you got to do with it? You're not even one of the attorneys on the case.
Yeah, but she's not obstructing it if they're not asking for it, though.
Exactly. Obstructing would be not to, like, you just deliberately not turning it over. They done subpoenaed you, or they done issued a warrant, or whatever the protocol is, and you done hit it, and you saying you don't have it, or something like that, or you can't find it. That would be obstruction. They
Right.
never went to that extreme to get the phone. Now they may have asked for the phone and said, "Oh, y'all need to go ahead. If y'all got the phone, y'all need to turn it in." But they never forced them to turn it in by legal means.
Right.
So for them to be acting like the mama is deliberately, she just holding the phone hostage. She just got it and she ain't turning it over to nobody. And I'm like, what? I'm sure that lady wouldn't do that. I'm sure you could tell she hold herself to a high standard. You just could tell. Like, you could tell she wouldn't even do something like that. And I'm sure she don't want to go to jail. But like I said, that's not a question for the mom anyway. That's what she have attorneys for, to fight her battle. If they got questions about why the phone not being turned in, or what the protocol is for the phone, or what they, what's their procedure for turning it in, how they gonna do it, or whatever, that is for her attorneys. That's for y'all to ask Ben Crump and her attorneys, those questions. Because she's being represented by an attorney. She's not doing all of this by herself. It'll be different if she was representing, herself, her and her husband, didn't have an attorney. Then you could say, oh, the mama holding the phone.
Right.
That's
But
just, I don't
they
know.
gotta come up with something.
Right.
That's how
And
they go.
they even put out a letter. The attorney that's actually representing her in Mississippi, because Ben Crump can't represent her in Mississippi because he's not licensed in Mississippi. So she had to get a law firm in Mississippi to represent them in Mississippi, you know, for for like the actual case. And they put out a letter, and Don Lemon showed the letter where they were saying, you know, what they were saying, what they were talking about it. Let me see. I might be able to pull it up. I don't know. Let me see. Oh wait, one moment. Well, anyway, I mean, you could go on Don Lemon because if I'm not mistaken, I think they say he was the first one to post the letter from the attorney. Don't quote me on it. You would have to go on there and see. But I know the actual attorneys talked about it, the boy's attorney, and they said Don Lemon was the one that posted it. They referred to Don Lemon, so I think he was the very first one that got the letter to post it on social media. But let's go ahead and take a look at this video. This Officer Coon take time on Nancy Grace. Let's see what he said.
We have nothing else to go off of. We're prepared to cooperate. For all I know, that means we'll come in for questioning. We'll let you search his belongings. It
Nancy,
can mean anything. That does not equal. We have not handed over the phone. But hey, you know what?
Nancy, it's been weeks.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
Okay, he is full of lies. Because according to what was in the letter, the family's legal team is saying they're willing to cooperate. They're willing to have the phone forensically examined. They're just saying we want it done the right way. There's a whole different conversation from somebody simply refusing to turn the phone over. They're asking about a joint forensic examination. They're talking about digital forensic lab. They're even discussing the possibility of the FBI involvement. So when I hear that, I'm like, okay, so what's all of this hollering about the phone then? Putting this mama on blast, I don't like that. This woman lost her son. Can we remember that for 5 minutes? And then when I hear young people publicly criticizing the mom, that's crazy. Put some respect on that woman's name. You don't have to agree with everything she says. You don't have to understand every decision she makes. And if something she says is factually wrong, correct it with facts. But you don't know what it's like to wake up every morning knowing your child isn't coming back through the door. You don't know what conversation she's having privately with the attorneys. You don't know what investigators and attorneys have talked about behind closed doors. Let me play the clip.
This is the Jackson County DA's office, as well as our forensic team, and possibly the FBI. We're going to together download and examine the phone. So it's done one time with everybody together, right? This is very common in the law. I mean, what you all may be more used to is when there's a terrible car accident, and then there's an examination of that car, and everybody comes together one time. They don't move that car around, and everybody does their own thing. This is what is supposed to happen. We are waiting for the DA to determine the time, the place, the date. Let us know, and we are going to be there with our forensics team and anybody else, but it's done one time, one examination. We're ready for it to happen.
Okay, so tell me where all these lies coming from.
Right.
They saying the family, they saying the mom don't want to turn over the phone. Now that's her attorney saying they done already talked to the DA and they got it coordinated where one day they're going to get together and they're going to do it together one time only. So all these attorneys that's coming out in Coon Tatum with all of his lies, coming out talking about the family is not cooperating. They don't want to give the phone. They don't want to turn it in. The lady said that yesterday on this press conference. That's one of the attorneys that was speaking. So you see what I'm talking about? All of this over a phone is not necessary. Okay, hold on, because now we got some clarification about this phone. They never said they weren't ever given a phone. They said, let's examine it one time with everybody. The Jackson County DA's office, the family forensic team, and possibly even the FBI. So they're saying they're going to do it one time and one time only. That's important because they've been saying they're waiting on the DA to give them the time, place, and date. And they're saying that they're ready to show up with their forensic people and get it done. So now I'm sitting here like, okay, then why is the internet making it sound like somebody got Nolan's phone tucked underneath a mattress somewhere and don't want to give it up? Because that's not what the lawyers are saying. They're saying they want to control the forensics examination where everybody involved gets one opportunity to properly preserve and examine the evidence. And that example actually makes sense. When there's a serious car accident and multiple sides need to inspect the vehicle, you don't have everybody dragging the car all across town doing whatever they want with it. Everybody comes together, one inspection, document everything, preserve everything. Plus, the letter that the attorneys from Mississippi, sent Don Lemon. They said they were ready and willing to cooperate with the joint forensic inspection of Nolan's personal phone. They even discussed using a digital forensic lab and possibly involving the FBI. So can we stop acting like nobody wants this phone examined? Cal, what you got to say?
They got to use something to put on people to change your mind and make you look the other way and do different things. That's how.
Right, a distraction.
Right.
Like Ben Crump keeps saying, it's all a distraction.
That's all it is. That's what they want to do. And in time, they had a dude on Willie D say Bart did it.
Yeah, they all saying he did it, but he allegedly did it. You can't say he did it.
That's what he
you have to say everybody saying, yeah, they saying that, but
no, he didn't say allegedly. He said Bart did it.
I know what they're saying. I said we are going to say it was alleged.
I'm saying what he said. I ain't saying that. I'm saying what the dude on Willie D said.
Well, you repeating something he said, right. But they so-called saying they could come for you for saying it, whether you say it or I'm saying it.
Come for me for repeating what somebody else said. They got to go after him. I got that from him. He said Bart got behind him and choked him and didn't know how much strength he had, and he fell. And then everybody started saying, "Damn, Bart, what you did?"
In the Cito video.
Yeah, and they say, "Bart, is he all right or whatever?" That was the dude was saying on Willie D.
Yeah, they're talking about the Cito video where they were saying, "Damn it, Bart, what did you do?"
Bart gonna be going to the NFL, so
he is. He got a kicker. He he come from a family of kickers. I think the dad and the grandpa was kickers.
Oh, that's why. That's why they're trying to save Bart.
Yeah, they trying to save him. His coach came out and said that because people were asking him in a press conference if what he got to say about it, and did the people ever tell him he a suspect and all of that. And he was saying, nobody never told me he a suspect. As far as I know, he's never been accused of anything.
Right.
But I just find it so suspicious that, since you're saying that, why he wasn't, him and Wyatt, why they didn't speak out.
Because they did it.
Wyatt was the one who the boat, his grandpa was the owner of the boat, and his grandpa called C2 and told him they didn't need no assistance. But they in 31 feet of water sinking.
The dude that was on Willie D said they went up there and talked to the grandpa, the uncle or the daddy, and they told him the story. And then they went down and called Cetos. He said the uncle or the daddy, grandpa, whoever was there first before they called Cetos.
I don't understand. The boys was on the water, so it couldn't have been them.
Yeah.
The boys were on the boat on Horn Island when they called C2.
Right. But they say he went upstairs and talked to the grandpa or the daddy.
Who talked to the grandpa or the daddy?
One of the boys.
No, the boys couldn't have, that he don't know what he talking about. He putting out false information. Because every last one of those boys was on that boat. Wyatt,
right.
Warren.
They said they was on a boat. He said they was on a boat. That's what he said. He said they all was on a boat. And they called the daddy or the grandpa. And he came. And when he came, he told them what to do. And that's when they went to calling Cetos and everybody else and got their story together.
He don't know what he's talking about because the boys were on the boat. They never had a chance to go talk to no uncle or no grandpa or nobody upstairs nowhere.
You remember when it first happened and they were saying somebody's parents was there?
Yeah, they still saying that. They said they had parents on some of those
All right,
boats.
that's what they saying. He was saying one of the parents was there. And one of the boys went and talked to their parent, and the parent told them what to do.
Okay, I believe that to a certain extent, because with them being on a boat calling C2,
he never said that they wasn't on the boat.
No, I'm not. I understand. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you're saying that now, but I'm saying that could make sense. Your theory, what he's saying.
Not my theory. That's his theory.
Well, his theory can make sense because while they were on the phone with C2, it was like some of the things the boy was saying, you could tell he was changing it. So you could tell it was like somebody was telling him what to say. Because first he said 17 feet of water, and then he changed it to 31 feet of water. And then when they asked how many people on the boat, I think he said 7. Then somebody in the background was counting, and they said 6. I don't know. So, yeah, everybody already knew somebody was telling them what to say. And then when the girl Vicky called the CETO captain, he started saying, "Oh, I already know about that. The grandpa just called and said he canceled the tow. He said we don't have to go." So the whole thing about that situation is, why would you cancel the tow if they're in 31 feet of water?
Right.
You the grandpa, and you canceling the tow? but your grandson is about to drown.
Right.
So that's what would make it look like it was fake. You know what I'm saying? Because you sitting there saying you're in 31 feet of water, and then your grandpa gonna call and say, "Oh, that's okay. Y'all don't have to go." So that's what make. So that's what make not the CETO call itself, where we heard the background, them in the background in a panic. Not that, but the actual call. It's like allegedly they were trying to get an alibi by saying that. Because people are saying that allegedly Nolan was on the boat and he was dying or had died, and they were trying to act like they was drowning,
Right.
Because they was gonna try to pretend like they was drowning, and then it just so happened Nolan, they was gonna say, "Oh, just Nolan drowned and didn't make it." But I guess they realized, okay, well, if nobody else died, how we gonna put that one on?
Yeah, but they still was hiding something.
Yeah, they've been saying Bart. They've been saying Bart and I mean, they didn't really say Wyatt, but I'm confused why Wyatt and Bart haven't been in any of the interviews. And then even when the lawyer was talking about the three boys that did the interview the other day, he just kept saying they didn't do anything. These three boys, Morgan, Warren, and the other boy, I forgot his name off the top of my head. They didn't do anything. They didn't kill Nolan. But I'm like, they wasn't the only ones on the boat.
Right. That's why they only represent them.
Exactly. I don't understand that. But they claim Bart had got an attorney too. They claim he had gotten an attorney for defamation. But it never came out. And that was like about 2 weeks ago, and it never came out who his attorney is. Because he was the first one. He was the first one everybody was saying had got a defamation attorney. He was the very first one. But as we could see now, with these boys coming out, they the only ones being represented by the defamation attorney.
No. Well, they probably the only one with that attorney. He probably chose to do that way. Your attorney can choose to do what they want when they're your attorney. But they got different attorneys. But if they got the same attorney, that's why he did that.
Right, but why would they go hire different attorneys when all of them was together?
Because there's too many people. You might know somebody that's already your lawyer or whatever. Certain people might not have a lawyer. Y'all might have a family lawyer. Somebody might know a lawyer. Somebody might be friends with a lawyer. Your cousin might be a lawyer. So it depends on the situation. Everybody ain't got to be with the same lawyer in the case.
Yeah, that's
true. You can have different attorneys represent the same case. But that would make the case more messier because everybody got to get the information. You got different attorneys on one case. And each attorney got to get the information so they can build up their case. So it just depends.
I don't know. To me, it still don't make sense because y'all gonna have 3 and 4 different attorneys representing y'all. So all them attorneys gonna go into court. If y'all ever have to go into court or whatever, y'all gonna have 3 different attorneys.
Yeah, that's how it goes. You don't have to be on the same. You can get in an accident with somebody and have different attorneys.
Well, I feel like it makes no sense.
Yeah, but that's how people do it. Might not make sense, but that's how people do it. That's like if we get in a car accident, you using an attorney that you like to use, and I'm using an attorney that I like to use. Nothing's wrong with that. There's nothing, no law against that.
Hmm.
You can't stop somebody from using an attorney of their choice.
We could let me see. We could try to take a look at that Willie D video. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can pull it up. That was today. He posted that today.
that was early this morning.
Okay, give me a minute so I can see if I can find it.
Yeah. But hey, anybody could choose an attorney they want. They ain't gotta go with your attorney that you choosing. You just gotta decide on who they want to go with, and then all the attorneys gotta work together. But if they don't, then you got a problem. But that would make the case go longer. So it's like they're trying to prolong it. They might be trying to just prolong it till that boy go to the NFL. Then you'll have the NFL attorneys. So it just depends. Whoever parent got the most power on that, because some parents in certain areas, if you're a judge and all that, then your family name is a lot of power.
Right, and that's a Warren mama. His stepmom is a judge.
Yeah, you got a lot of power in the community. You got, it depends. So it just depends on how much power they got. Some last names have more power than some last names.
Mm-hmm.
If she have a family of attorneys and judges in her name in that area, then she got a powerful last name. Each area be having different last names. It's just like the church. You go to church, churches have different last names that rule the church. That they people that run it. So it's just like that.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's like normal people that run it. But I mean,
All right, I found it. We're going to take a look at Willie D video. Shout out to Willie D. We're going to take a look at the video that Cal was talking about with the guy saying Bart did it, allegedly.
Well, there's a guy on TikTok who goes by the name of Danny Collins, who says he knows exactly what happened to Nolan Wells. He believes Bart did it. Yeah, fam, he just straight up said, Bart did it. Check him out.
In the Nolan Wells case, Bart did it. Now, this is allegedly, but I believe that Bart did it. I believe that Bart had some type of relationship with Katie. Katie was obviously with Nolan. Bart had a jealous rage seeing a young black male with a white female. We know in states like Mississippi, I see it all the time in my community, where white guys get jealous to see black guys with white girls. I've seen it a million times, and people who deny this are flat out lying. I believe what happened was that Bart put Nolan in a chokehold and he didn't realize his own strength, and Nolan did not wake up. Hence the reason why we hear in the background of the Cito call, we hear, "Damn it, Bart, Nolan, wake the fuck up. Is he dead?" All this is allegedly now. Well, if he just accidentally killed him, then why wouldn't they bring him to the police? Because Bart has so much to lose. He was the star football player on his way to the NFL. A manslaughter charge, whether it's involuntary or voluntary or a negligent homicide, is not going to look well on his resume and would obviously disqualify him from his NFL career. Because of his football stardom, and apparently he has a family with the same pedigree, he has clout around town enough to get people to remain silent, enough to help construct an alibi, and also put the fear of God in these kids. Tell them that you're also going to be implicated in this, and we're all going to go down. We're all going to be arrested. Also, why they tried to place Bart not at the scene initially. Now, the most talking and listening to him talk with Officer Tatum, he almost did too much talking and told on the crew. Warren says that when they got the boat back, that he went upstairs to talk to the father of one of the kids rather than hanging out with everybody downstairs. He says that they were talking about boats up there. Now, why would you even bring this up? Like, why would this even be a part of the story if it was such an innocuous thing that you were just going upstairs to randomly talk to a father about boats?
Yeah. About that, it wasn't Bart that went up there to talk to, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Warren said that was his girlfriend's dad he went and talked to. He went up there to talk to him. I mean, he said it was about boats, but whoever that guy was, allegedly that was the guy who they said they were waiting to go back on his shift because he worked for the company that does the marine or something. They had to give a missing report for Nolan, and they say he was the one that took the missing report. So allegedly he went up there to talk to the guy who was ultimately gonna have to take the report, for them to call in the missing report. And they say they waited to call in the missing report when he got to work. So that wasn't Bart, Cal, that was Warren.
Yeah, he didn't say it was Bart that went up there. He just said that somebody went up there to talk to the dad.
Right.
He didn't say Bart went to talk to the dad.
It was his girlfriend or some type of girl that he friends with. It was her dad, and they saying that he worked for one of those whoever had to take the missing report. I don't have it in front of me, but whoever had to take the missing report, that's who he worked for. And he allegedly, a white girl on TikTok, she said that he was the one that took the report. So when they saying he was up there talking about boats, allegedly he had to be talking about, well, when you go back to work, this how you gonna have to, you gotta do this report. I'm gonna call and I'm gonna tell you Nolan missing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Finish letting it play. Let's see.
All right.
The reality is because they weren't talking about boats. They were constructing an alibi and a cover story. And when they came downstairs, it was automatically like, oh, what happened to Nolan? Where is Nolan? Has anybody seen Nolan? Let's call the Coast Guard. Why would they call CITO? Why would they call the Coast Guard? Because it creates a timeline. It creates like a paper trail of where they could have been anywhere but with Nolan. Also, why would you call the Coast Guard if you truly believe that Nolan just was behind with the girl Katie? Even if Katie had came back at that point, why wouldn't you think he's off with some other girl or doing something else? Why would you think something nefarious happened? Why? Because you had his phone and you knew that something nefarious happened. Again, this is allegedly. Let's smoke them out. What doesn't come out in a wash always comes out in a rinse.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, $118 for car insurance. That's how much I was paying. Okay, I picked up the car.
I ain't got no problem with that. Danny, just put it on out there, man. Just, hey, man, this is what it is. This is what I think. I've heard a couple of people who share a very similar theory, especially in regards to that conversation, going upstairs and talking to Pops and, what's all of that about? And what's all that about with calling the dispatcher, but before calling the dispatcher, calling Grandpa. That's on Wyatt right there. What's up with that? See, the question isn't whether thousands of people online believe Bart did it. The question is, dun, 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 whether one piece of evidence or reliable evidence can prove Bart did anything. That's the question. Can one piece of reliable evidence prove that Bart did anything? Because they're not going to convict or even charge Bart on suspicion. They're not going to charge him on our beliefs. Personally, I think Bart is in a heap of trouble. And I do believe that Bart was on that boat. I do believe, because look, Warren said it. Warren said, my buddy Bart. First he said, my buddy, then he said, Bart, he let it slip a couple of times. See, Warren, boy, that boy can't hold water. He cannot hold water. So Bart, from what I heard, at one point claimed that he was still in Wyoming, playing football. I guess he's out there, that's where he played football at, but he was in Wyoming and not Ocean Springs, Mississippi. So therefore, he couldn't have been involved. But Warren placed him at the scene of the crime. I'm at the scene of the alleged crime. Warren placed him there by inadvertently saying his name. So the thing is, Warren still, or not Warren, but Bart still hasn't explained that part. Warren hasn't even explained it. When they went on Tatum's show, I wonder why he didn't ask them that. Like, hey, man, can you clear up this thing about you saying you was in Wyoming? And what did you mean, Warren, when you said, my buddy, and then you finally said Bart? Was Bart on the boat? Well, Bart was on the boat. Well, Bart, why'd you say he was in Wyoming? You dig what I'm saying? You got to get there one way or the other. Bart did it, is what Danny said. Question is, do you believe Bart did it? Give me a thumbs up if you believe Bart did it. Thumbs down and say, no, well, man, you're fishing, man. You're fishing. You're going too far. I don't think he did it. I don't think he had anything to do with it. I'll give you a few moments to think about it. Okay, time's up. Hey, listen, fam. If the evidence clears him, if it shows the public what can legally be released, and it proves that nothing is there, well, nothing is there. Ain't nothing gonna happen.
All right, so shout out to Willie D with his channel. Willie D, that was a good little take on the Bart situation. But like I said, all of that is alleged. That is alleged.
Right.
All right, so back to what we were talking about. All right, so the issue with the phone is how it's going to be examined. And then we get to this filtered team situation. Basically, you can have people separating information that's actually relevant to the investigation from private or potentially privileged information that ain't got nothing to do with what happened to Nolan. And y'all think about it with your own phones for 2 seconds. Would you want somebody digging through every picture, every family conversation, every private message, every little piece of personal business when they're supposed to be investigating one specific event? Exactly. So having lawyers establish perimeters doesn't automatically mean somebody's hiding something. That's what lawyers are supposed to do, protect their clients' rights while allowing relevant evidence to be properly examined. But here's where I'm going to put the pressure right back where it belongs. If everybody agrees this examination needs to happen, let's get it done. If the family said they're ready, if their forensic team is ready, if there's a discussion about the DA and possibly the FBI participating, in baby, somebody set the date. Because I'm not interested in another 3 weeks of where's the phone, why they won't give it up, who is present when they examine. Who is present when they examine it is what's important, and how they do it. Just do it professionally, preserve the evidence, protect unrelated private information, document the process so nobody can come back later questioning who did what. And most importantly, see whether the phone contains anything that can help this family understand what happened to their son, because that's what is most important. Not winning an argument over a phone, not dragging Nolan's mom, not social media team fighting each other. Only answers. So if everybody really wants the truth, let's set the date. Bring the experts, examine the phone, and let's talk evidence. So before everybody gets comfortable turning Nolan's mom into the villain of Nolan's story, we certainly don't know everything she's carrying emotionally. How about we remember whose child is gone? If there are questions about the evidence, investigate it. If there's something authorities need, follow the proper legal process. I need some of the same energy directed toward the question this family has been asking from the beginning: what happened to Nolan? Because Nolan's mom isn't the mystery we're trying to solve. What happened to her son is. And until the family gets some real answers, truth and transparency, friend, I'm keeping my eyes right there. And that's the story. So let's stop dragging the mom through the dirt, because she honestly don't deserve that. She didn't ask to be in the public eye. She didn't ask to be, if you were so-called famous. Her and her husband didn't ask for that. I'm sure if she could trade all of that to have her son back, I'm sure she would trade it all to have her son living and breathing again. So let's think about that and be compassionate. Give this mother and father grace. Because like I said, all they doing at the end of the day, they just want to know what happened to Nolan. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Right.
So what's your final takes, Cal?
Yeah. People do what people do. So I mean, she can expect that. Some people are gonna love you, some people are gonna hate you. Yeshua came here and was a perfect man. You had people that love him, some people hate him. So that's for all of us. So that comes with the territory. Once you put yourself out there in the world, you can expect that. I'm saying people don't be expecting that to come with it, but you can definitely expect that. You're gonna have some lovers and some haters. It's just how much. That's why most people that celebrities and all that, they be saying, "I don't read social media. I don't read the comments. I don't get involved in that," because they don't want to see the derogatory stuff that people saying about them. You only want to see the love comments. When you see them bad comments, boy, you be mad. Like, oh, mother put a bad comment. So she can expect that.
Yeah, because that could tear you down mentally. One negative comment.
Right. That's all it takes.
But I guess I just feel a little differently because I feel like if it was on the other side, I feel like the person who died would be the American hero. So I don't feel the same way. We disagree. Because I definitely don't feel like they would drag a clear person, family through what they putting them through.
No, but I mean, it just depends. They probably wouldn't do it that way, but they ain't gonna do that way. Well, they say I gave the devil the Bible said I gave the devil dominion over the earth until he come back. So the devil rule the earth. That's all we know. That's all we can deal with. Until he come back, that's how it's gonna be. And you ain't gonna have no power to do nothing with them because they control the things that we need, the resources and all those type of things. So
But
until Yeshua come back.
my question is it really worth holding that type of secret? Because you're never gonna be right, especially if you've seen it happen.
Well, things happen to the
Or
people that do.
even if you covered it up, you're never gonna be right because you're always gonna have that in the back of my mind. Why did I do that? You know? And on top of that, your mind is gonna forever be in prison. Whether you physically go to prison or not, your mind is going to be in prison because you're going to never forget that. You're going to always be reminded of that. You're going to always be reminded of if you were there and you helped covered it up and you dumped the body or any of that. If you did any of that, that will live with you forever. And I'm sure if anybody has something to do with that, I'm sure they're having nightmares. So I'm saying, is it really worth it?
No, but people do it, people do things like that. I know a group of people who did the same thing, but life wasn't good for them.
Exactly. Normally your life don't go good after that. And a lot of people is crazy because the stereotype is a lot of times when people do stuff like that, they either gonna stay in and out of jail or they either gonna be unalive the same way or just unalive by taking their own, self out. So that's what I'm saying. I just feel like, oh, I guess if you in that situation, if somebody really did that, I guess if you in that situation and it was honestly like an accident, like if it was something that happened at a spur of a moment and you didn't, you just really took it too far, I guess you really wouldn't know what you would do to keep from going to jail, but I just feel like no matter, even if it came down to that, I feel like you still go, your life is just not gonna be right. It's not gonna be right. If you dump somebody body or you get rid of somebody body, however it happened, however you discarded of it or covered it up, or if you know who did it and you're just not saying who did it, I don't know. I just feel like, is it worth it? And I feel like sometimes when stuff like that happen, I feel like some people get tired of holding that kind of secret. Like some people get to the point to where they say, "Look, I don't care if I go to jail because I'm having nightmares. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't." So some people will come out and tell just to release themselves from that.
You're right. You're right
Because I'm
about
sure
that.
that be the devil in their head telling
Right.
them, look what you did. But that's pretty much all I had with this for this live video, for this video to talk about, and that's it. If anybody tuned in, if y'all watching the video, anybody that watched the video, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Locked On Celebrity News. The headlines might get you here, but the trending news keeps us locked in. If any new updates come out, we will bring it to you as soon as we can. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stay locked in.
Good night.
Good night.